Thank you everyone for joining us today for the Wedding Pros Chat. This is when we let you all meet some of the most amazing wedding vendors in the area. And this is our opportunity where they get to highlight what they do, who they are, and how they can help service your upcoming wedding or event. And today we have Lora from Perfect Day Productions. And today she's going to talk about everything related to wedding planning and what she does. So Laura, go ahead and introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are, what you do, the whole intro, the whole shebang.
I love it. The whole thing. So
yes.
Hi everyone. I'm so excited to be here. First, let me thank Charlena from Any Event Linen and Chair Rental. This is so incredible. I appreciate the invite and letting me be on today. I love events. I love weddings. So anytime I get to talk about it is very exciting. So I'm Laura Gardner. I am the owner of Perfect Day Productions. We are a full service wedding and event planning company. So from anywhere from helping you find your perfect venue, to your perfect vendors, to the design, the decor, the decorating, we're going to be the team for you. There's two parts that go into event planning. There's the logistics, making it run on time, the setup, the breakdown, but there's the planning of it, the putting all of those details together to execute on event day. And we do both. So not only are we going to be able to guide you through the whole planning process, but then we're going to be on site with you every step of the way, executing the vision that you have for your perfect day.
Perfect. Well, that was perfect. Literally, that was my first question. Like, so what do you do? So you kind of like nailed it into one. So perfect.
Well, I did speak recently on the elevator pitch and the importance of how to introduce. So I'd be pretty bad if I didn't do as well on that. So.
Right. Perfect. So since that was your elevator pitch, it seems like it's very condensed. Is there a more detailed intro where you can kind of give our viewers more insight as to the services you provide, from a large scale to just a smaller scale? Feel free to just share all of that because everyone wants to know the more detailed version of what you do.
Absolutely. So event planning can be very stressful. There's a lot of things that go into it. And what we hope to do is alleviate the stress and the worry and all of the details and let our team handle that. So even from when we'll talk about weddings, because events are kind of a different animal at times, but we'll focus on events and then weddings at first. So when a couple first gets engaged, sometimes they're just so excited about the engagement. And then they look around and they realize they have no idea what to do next. So you call a wedding planner. Your step one when you're engaged is you call your wedding planner. Hire someone that's going to walk you through every step of the process. And that's what we're here for. We love all the details that go into the wedding day. And not only are we excited to walk you through that process, we have the skills, the knowledge, and the expertise to make sure that you're making the best decisions for you. Not cookie cutter, very personalized. We want it to make sense and have you as a couple share your experience and your story throughout your entire wedding planning process. And then of course on wedding day. So call us, we're going to help you find your venue. Sometimes it's hard to ask. You don't know where to start. You don't know where to go. We're going to be the ones helping you narrow down and figure out what's going to be the best venue for you. There's a lot of questions that go into that. How many guests are you expecting? Do you want indoor, outdoor? These are things to ask your wedding planner and things to think about when you're looking at a venue. Do you want indoor, outdoor ceremony and reception? How many guests are you expecting? Do you want an all-inclusive venue that's going to cover your food and your beverages? Or do you want the ability to bring in those things? What's included in that venue? Tables, chairs, linens, staff, cleanup, breakdown, vendors. Let's figure out what's included. And we kind of create a profile to make it make sense that we're finding the right venue for you. And that could be, what's your aesthetic? Do you want a castle? Do you want a barn? Do you want a clubhouse? What do you want? And so we help you figure that out. And then after we help you figure out what you want, we do all the work. So we do the research, we figure out availability, we check budgets, we check packages, we present those options to our couples. They tell us what looks good, and then we do the site visit with them. So we want to make sure that we're walking them through the entire process of finding a venue. We know what questions to ask. I think if anyone on the call has ever planned an event, when you first walk in a venue, you might not be able to vision your event there. We walk you through as if you're the guest. We walk you through as if you're the couple. What's that experience going to be from the moment you walk on property to the end of your night? We see that as soon as we walk in, we have that vision for your wedding. So just on the venue aspect, you can see the level of detail and attention to detail that we go in. That's the approach that we take for every step of the wedding planning process. Your vendors, your caterers, your DJ, florist, baker, all of that. We walk you through every step of the way and present the best recommendations for you.
Perfect. Well, look,
yeah.
Sanicia said, sounds perfect to me.
Yes. And, you know, Perfect Day Productions, that's a big name. We live up to that. That's our goal, is to always give our couples the perfect day. And not only the perfect day, but really we want them to have the perfect engagement and the perfect planning process. I had someone, we were at a training recently, and someone said, when you hire a planner, you're no longer planning your event, you're just having an event. I'm planning your event. And I love that, because that's really what we get to do. You just get to enjoy being engaged, enjoy the planning process, and let us kind of take care of everything for you.
Yes, definitely. So you just mentioned something, and I really didn't think about it when you are preparing for your wedding, right? But before that is the engagement. So do you all help with that? So if my partner is like, hey, I'm getting engaged, I don't know what to do. Do you all help the partners kind of like, let me help you with engagement. Let me help you, transition to the wedding. Is that something that you do, or a service that you provide? Or is it kind of like, once you got the ring, literally ring us and we'll take it from there?
I would love to help with an engagement. We have not been asked to do that yet, but it is absolutely a service that we would do, because there's steps that go into that too. And sometimes, again, if you've never done it before, you don't necessarily know. So absolutely, if anyone's on here thinking about proposing, contact Perfect Day Productions, because we will guide you through the entire process.
Right. Perfect. So, we see a lot of wedding planners on social media all the time. Like, they're just countless. And sometimes that can be overwhelming, because you really don't know the perfect fit. And it's almost like a job interview sometimes, because it's like, let me see we have that connection to where I feel like I trust them. I feel like they're going to do a great job. And sometimes a lot of planners, they don't know how to showcase that on the platforms. But then some do. But like I said from the beginning, it's just so hard sometimes to just really pinpoint the ideal wedding planner. So share one thing about your services that make you different from other wedding planners.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And you mentioned job interview, and I think it's both ways. They're interviewing us, but we're also interviewing them. The process of planning an event or planning a wedding is really personal. And especially with your wedding planner, it's kind of an intimate relationship. We're in your life for, our average planning is 12 to 18 months. We've done it in a full-scale wedding in 2 months, and we've done 2 years, but our average is about 12 to 18 months. That's a long time. And we hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of the emotions that go into planning a wedding. So you want to make sure that you have that comfort level and that trust. My best clients are the ones that say, Laura, you got this. I trust you. Whatever you say, that's the best, because then they get to let us really understand their needs and then move forward. For every couple we talk to, we always want to do a free consultation. If you're even thinking of hiring Perfect Day, or you like what you've seen so far, let's pick up the phone and let's have a 30-minute chat. I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. Let's make sure this is going to be a good working relationship, and call other wedding planners. The most important thing is hiring someone. You want to hire a certified wedding planner. You want to hire someone that's licensed, that's insured, that's professional, that's been doing this. That's key. And you want to make sure that it's a good fit for you. So I do encourage to always research your wedding vendors and have that dialogue. I think some of the things that set Perfect Day Productions apart, is the level of detail and the level of service that we're going to provide to our couples. We have a whole team. So that's the nice thing. It's not just Laura. We have an amazing team of event professionals that work for Perfect Day that are with you throughout the planning process and on wedding day. So it's really great that you're going to have a whole team working for you. We're with you the entire day on wedding day. Not hair and makeup. They get there really, really early. We're a little after hair and makeup. But pretty much when we're on site, we're there with you to the very end. We want to make sure that your breakdown is happening. We want to make sure that your final exit, your formal exit goes off without a hitch, that all of those personal details, those personal items that you have at the end of the day, we're there helping to manage getting that to the right person at the end of the night. We also do decorating services, which not a lot of planners and coordinators do. So we're going to be laying your linens and your centerpieces and just making it beautiful, your candles and your table numbers and your seating chart and personal touches, your toasting flutes. We want to make your day beautiful and special and unique. And we're going to help execute that vision on wedding day as well. So I think there's a lot of additions that we add that maybe not every wedding planner does. We're also a certified wedding planner. So that has a lot of education that comes with that. And we also offer decor rentals. So we can do a turnkey wedding for you. So you can rent all of your decor from us. And we're going to set that up and break that down at the end of the night. So we're kind of a one-stop shop in that regard. If you have that need, we're going to be able to fulfill that for you.
Nice. Perfect. And one thing that you did mention that I think sometimes is overlooked is that area of detail. Because like I said, sometimes it's just like, oh, I just need somebody to help me plan my wedding. And it's like, like you can YouTube like how to do it. Like, but
there's
it's
books,
about,
there's
but it's about like that full experience. Like you said, creating that profile, even making sure like we are a good fit. Because I think for businesses, and I know like for our business, we're not always a good fit. Like sometimes like we're just not a good fit, and maybe you're good for someone else, but to really be able to say, hey, tell me more about you. Tell me more about, your big day and expectations, and just making sure that as a business owner, you feel that deep down, like we're going to have a wonderful relationship. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that, we can execute and, really like give you that experience that you want. And that we stand by as a business. I think that's very important because I think sometimes as business owners, you just want to jump out and just take everything. And it's like,
do it
no,
all.
right. No.
Well, and all new business owners do that, right? You want experience and you want knowledge and you want to understand. And really that's a valuable process, right? Because you're going to learn the things that you enjoy in this business and the things that you don't. As a business owner, that's really important to understand that there are just parts of the event process that I might not personally enjoy. So I might not offer that service, but I have someone who loves doing that. And I know that anytime a client asks, that's who I'm going to go to because they have passion for it and drive for it and they enjoy it. So that happens sometimes. And so you kind of kiss those frogs at the beginning and really understand, oh, okay, that may not be the thing that I love, or I love that part of it. Like when I started out, it wasn't necessarily to do decor rentals. It was strictly the planning process. And then I started to really enjoy the interacting with my clients of designing their wedding and vision boarding and mood boarding with them and design meetings and really kind of taking that like visual concept of their day to the next level. That's another thing I think that sets us apart differently is we, in our partial package and our full planning package, you get a design meeting with us. You come to my studio in Lakeland and we get to play. So you're going to see your linens, your napkins, your chairs, your mock-ups, your table numbers. You're going to touch and feel all of those details of wedding day. And because brides and grooms don't always get to see that, they don't always actually get to see some of those details on wedding day, but they know it's important. So we want to help them be able to see that on the front end. So that's a really fun day that they get to come to our studio and play.
Yes, definitely. And I kind of want to jump back to when you started talking about the profiles and you were mentioning venues. Based on that profile start over. Sometimes when you're in wedding planning mode, you don't know like a venue, right? Like you see pictures and all these things. do you help with the couples when they're in that phase of like, this is what I want, but I don't know where to find that? Do you help with that venue selection? And is it only in Polk County? Or are you like, hey, you want a castle, for instance? We know you need to go to Sarasota. Like, are you just really confined to the Polk County area? Or do you say, hey, I want to give you the best venue out there, and this is where maybe we need to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it kind of depends on the couples. We're not always hired to do venue selection, but we would prefer to help you find your venue because there's always things we're going to be able to answer for you. So we're not always involved in that process, but when we are, it's fantastic because then we get to build that profile. And yes, we help them find their venue. So they may say, I want to stay in Central Florida. And then we really get to research and expand all of that knowledge that we have. If they say, I want to stay in Polk County, but here are my needs.
Right.
Okay, we may not be able to find that in Polk County, but I know that there's a venue that's just 20 minutes outside of that radius you want it to be. And would you be willing to take a look at that venue? I think it would be amazing. So I'm going to stretch them. I think part of event professionals is we want to stretch our couples. They don't know all of the things that are out there, and that's okay. They don't have to. That's what we're here for, right? But you know, Charlena, when you're talking to a client, they may not realize that they want that upgraded flatware. They want the chairs, but they may realize you can do a specialty linen for them. So it's our job to kind of expand their options so that way they feel like they're making the best decision that makes sense for their wedding day. So I'm going to expand some of those venue selections because I think it's the best fit for them. I never want to recommend something I just don't think makes sense. But if I really do, I'm going to really strongly encourage them to consider something else if I feel like it's the best fit for them. And that could be outside of Polk County, outside of Florida. You know, we're talking with a couple now that's thinking of getting married in Pennsylvania, and we're so excited to be able to do a destination wedding and be there for them. And that's going to expand kind of that offering as well. So we do destination events, weddings and events as well.
Good. You literally must have been reading my mind because that was my next question. You know, do you stay in the Central Florida area, or are you open to
have clipboard and radio will travel? So you just, I mean, wherever they need us to be is where we're going to go. And we want that. We want our couples, wherever they choose to get married, to have the best wedding professionals possible. That's going to fit their needs, and to have the best wedding planners possible. And we're really good at what we do. And so we want that opportunity to service that couple, even if it's outside of Central Florida or Florida.
Perfect. Well, couples, you heard that. If you want her, she'll wherever you want to come, she'll be there.
International. So you know, wherever you need us, we're going to be there. My team wants to travel. They're like nodding their heads. They absolutely want to go someplace else. So let's make that happen.
Nice. Especially, you know, I've been doing a lot of research, and you hear like destination weddings are literally like on the rise. So like I said, it's so good to hear that, hey, wherever you need us, we'll be there. It's really good to know that, because I think sometimes with some planners, you know, they only service the area that they're in. And so couples are very limited with, you know, their venue options and all those things. So I think it is very important to really team up with a planner who's like, hey, I've been here and I know exactly the ins and outs of this venue, but maybe I haven't been there, and I'm willing to go there and really make sure that, you know, it's a good fit.
And we've done venue tours that we've walked in and thought, this probably isn't the right fit, you know, and you know, sometimes that just happens, and we want to make sure that we have honest dialogue with our couples about those things. And the other thing to think about is Florida is a destination wedding spot. So we work with, I would say probably 30% of the couples we're working with now are out of state. And so they want someone here, they want someone local, feet on the ground, that's going to be able to plan their wedding here. So that's the other part that makes Florida a little unique when you talk destination weddings, because they are coming here for their event. So in terms of hotel accommodations and transportation, there's a whole logistical process that we go through when we're working with couples that are coming from out of state. There's a whole level of steps that we add into that, because we know that need exists when you're bringing in 100 people from out of state.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree because we get a lot of couples who are, they're like, we live in whatever state and we're coming here. We
Mm-hmm.
don't even know, like,
They have no idea where
anything
to
about the
start.
venue outside of the pictures we found on Google. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really good, like you said, to connect with vendors who really know the area that the couple is in or willing to do the research.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times for instance, they just want to come to
Just come in.
Florida or, because they want to go to Disney or they want to spend time at the beach. So it's really nice to be able to connect with vendors who are willing to go that extra mile to
Mm-hmm.
assist them and give that level of comfort that their wedding day will, go off without a hitch. So that's really nice to,
Yeah.
know that about Perfect Day Productions for sure.
Mm-hmm. We got you. We got you.
Yeah.
And a little about me, I love coffee, and my assistant just brought me coffee. So I'm just going to take a minute and drink my coffee. A little about me. If you work for Perfect Day, coffee is a prerequisite, just to let you know. Little sidebar.
Oh my
And there's
God,
French
that's
fries
so funny.
waiting for me too, apparently. So French fries and coffee, we're pretty good there.
Wait, at the same time?
French fries just walked in the door and coffee at the same time. You know, you do what you got to do to make
That's
it through.
right. That's right. Two hot things at once.
Just
You
to really
cannot
mess.
beat
No,
that.
it's cold coffee. It's iced coffee.
Oh,
So
oh,
it's good. It's good. Not
perfect.
bad.
Perfect. Okay. So what part of your services merge with wedding rentals that just brides are not aware of?
Mm-hmm. So really whatever the couple needs. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of things in-house. So we have
Nice.
arches and a couple of vintage furniture pieces and like the tabletop stuff,
Mm-hmm.
chargers and
Mm-hmm.
candles, centerpieces, table
Mm-hmm.
numbers, signage, lanterns, those
Nice.
types of things. So that can be handled in-house. Linens, all of that we can handle in-house.
Perfect.
Bigger pieces, if we need to bring in farmhouse tables
Mm-hmm.
or chairs or
Mm-hmm.
things like that, or even linens that we may not be able to have, then we're going to be able to go outside of our in-house
Yes.
offerings
Perfect.
and then still take care of that for the client. They don't even have
Nice.
to worry about it. So we're
Nice.
going to take care of taking the getting the rentals done, and so it's a one-stop shop still
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
couple. We just handle
Yes.
everything for them. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and it's so funny that we literally just had a bride call, literally, and she said, "I need chairs, and I don't know like where to start." And so I'm like, "Yeah, we definitely have the chairs."
You
And
got
she was
chairs,
like,
yep.
"But we need decor." And it was so
Mm-hmm.
funny that the date she needed, we're completely booked. And I literally told her, I said, call Perfect Day Productions. I said, she
Well, thank
has the
you.
decor and
You
she
got
has
it.
amazing vendors who would be able to help
Mm-hmm.
you with your chairs. And
Mm-hmm.
I was told her exactly what you said. I said,
Yep.
sometimes it's a lot easier to just work with one person versus
Mm-hmm.
getting all of these 18,000 vendors and you pay all these 18,000 different fees rather
Yep.
than just working with one person that has vendors who they can vouch for every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just do that. And literally, like you said, hands off. You don't have to worry about if Joe's going to really show up at 2 o'clock
Yeah, and
because,
what's the layout, and when are they going to
yeah,
arrive, and when are they picking up, and hey,
yes,
how do they want it laid out? And oh, we
yes,
didn't want white pad cushions, we wanted ivory. We're
right.
going to be there to be like, hey, let's switch those out. We wanted ivory instead of
Yeah.
white. We're on site making sure
Mm-hmm.
that those things are handled. And I always say to my couples, my goal is for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your day.
Yes.
Drink your mimosa, get your hair and makeup done, be
Yes.
with your girls, and know
Yeah.
that everything's being handled. I don't ever want to pull my bride out to check and see if her chairs have been delivered.
Right.
That's not what we want. Let us handle that, and that's a service that we take on because it is part of that decorating, design, rentals element. It
Mm-hmm.
can just all come through our company, and then it's a one-stop shop. It's just so much easier.
Perfect. So
Mm-hmm.
let's go back to the basics because I think
Yeah.
sometimes, I think we did a post about this the other day that, if you want a wedding planner or a specific wedding vendor, book them like ASAP because if you really
Yeah.
enjoy or you like what you see, so do 30,000 other clients or,
Mm-hmm.
couples. What is your actual, I think you said 12 to 18 months is
Mm-hmm.
typically the planning process, but if people are definitely interested in hiring your company, when would you suggest like email me? let us know ASAP. Like,
well, we're the unique vendor in saying earnestly immediately, because
nice.
we're the wedding planners. So we
Perfect.
really are that first stop in, we just got engaged, now what?
Right.
It's your planner. And couples hire us throughout all kinds of steps in the process. That scenario of, I just got engaged, now what? They're going to contact us and say, help me find my venue, help me find my vendors.
Yes.
I don't have, either I'm busy. Sometimes it's working professionals. We work with a lot of teachers and nurses and in the medical field. They don't have regular office hours. So making phone calls to DJs and photographers is not something they have time for. So we're going to be able to do some of that for them. So they just let us take the reins. We have some couples that have started and then they realize, okay, this is so much more than I thought it was going to be. I'm getting anxious. I'm getting stressed out. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Those are those key phrases. If you're feeling those things, it's time to call a wedding planner, because we're going to be able to take you from that point to the finish line. That partial planning package, we call it from this day forward, because that's what we are. We're from this day forward. We're going to be your guides, your therapist, your planners. We're going to be everything that you need us to be till the very end. And then we have some couples that are like, we've planned it. We've enjoyed the process. We've got all of our vendors. Here's my binder. I just want to enjoy wedding day. Will you take over? Absolutely. We're going to be able to do that too. So we do offer all of those services, and that consultation is so important to figure out, where are they? We have some couples that call us that think, oh, I just need a coordinator, or event management is what we call it, event management. And then we get through that process and I'm like, I think you might need a partial planning. There's a lot of things that you haven't gotten to yet, and let us help you. Let us step in now and move forward with you. So guiding them through that process to really help them know what they need in education. Someone asked me recently, what are like the two best things a wedding planner can be? We can be patient and we can help educate.
Nice.
And if we can do those two things and do it with a passion, we're going to instill that confidence in our couples that we've got them and they don't have to worry anymore.
Yes, definitely.
So to find us, you just go to our website, fill out a form. You will get an automatic link to schedule a free consultation. My calendar is there. You'll always talk to me 99% of the time. And I'm going to get all the information from you, figure out what's going to make the most sense, and then put together a proposal for you specific for your wedding.
Perfect. I love that. I love that. I love that. And it's so interesting too, like the times that we live in, a lot of people, the first interaction, they rather just jump on your website and fill out a form, because a lot of times the form really unveils like if you know what you really need or if you do not. So it's really nice to be able to say, okay, I can jump on her website at 2 a.m.
and they do.
Right.
And they do.
And really put in, the things I think I need. But then when you have the conversation, you have that experience where you can really drill down and give them things to possibly think about that they did not.
My goal is to always try to keep it personal.
Yes.
We have a team, but even in the way that we function as a team, I really want to always feel like it's kept personal. So even on our form, it's not really detailed. It's just kind of tell me a little bit about you. And then we're going to get more information on the call, because I really do kind of want to understand you as a couple, where you are in the planning process. Give a little free tip here and there if it makes sense, because I want you to have the best day possible. Even if we're not the right fit, let me make sure that you know what questions to ask to find the right fit, right? Because ultimately it's just about them having a perfect day, however that manifests.
Perfect. Okay, so here's another quick question that I was just thinking about.
Quick question.
Yes, right. So what's one common one common thing or mistake that couples don't think about when they're in that planning process, where you can literally jump in? Is it the details, or are there other things that like couples, they just don't think about? And it can really like be the game changer. Even if they hired you, like what's the one common thing they're like, ooh, I didn't think about that. What's that thing?
Yeah, I think the timeline of the day is probably the biggest hiccups I might see couples make. And because sometimes couples will send us a timeline they created when they hire us.
Right.
And then we might see some pitfalls in there. I love our timelines. I think we have the best timelines. Can I just say that? I really do. We take a lot of time, super detailed from hair and makeup to final exit. Your day is outlined. It feels micromanaged, but it's for us to make sure you have an amazing day. Lots of detail. One of the things that we do, I think couples may not do, is recognizing that things may take longer than you realize. Weddings should not start late. I guess I should say that. Don't assume when you start the wedding planning process, oh, we're just going to run late. It shouldn't. If you have a timeline and you're communicating with your vendors and you're putting through the right steps, your wedding should not start late.
Right.
So let's just kind of change that mentality and recognize that if you say it's a 5 o'clock ceremony, put 5 o'clock on your invitation.
Yep.
And we're going to start at 5. And then we have a day that goes through there. Now, things can happen always. And we account for that. We build that into our timelines. We account for things taking a little bit longer. We buffer time in to ensure we can start on time. So when those things maybe run a little longer, the bride's hair and makeup might take a little bit longer. We've already thought about that. We've already built that in, and we've already accounted for that. Photos before ceremony, getting everyone together, getting them dressed takes a little longer than you might realize. We're building that into the timeline. Again, so photos are on time. Your reception starts on time. You can eat when you want to eat. It's so important to keep a really good timeline and make sure. But I will say that things do happen. And if I have a bride and groom on wedding day that says, you know what, I really don't want to cut the cake anymore. Can you just cut and serve it? We'll have the caterer cut and serve that. We'll just take that off the timeline. That's easy. We'll change it up. We can morph and change and adjust on wedding day. Super, super easy. We do it all the time. But because we build those buffers in, if something does change, it doesn't throw everything off. We've already accounted for it. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes couples make. And also thinking there's time for hair and makeup and decorating.
Right. Yep.
There's usually not. We're going to do your decorating too, right? So having professionals, we have a certain way of doing the setup and the breakdown and how we're efficient, we're effective at what we do, and we're professional at how we do it, and greeting your vendors. So having someone come in and take care of that for you is really valuable, because it will save a lot of time and a lot of frustration, because we've already asked you all the questions.
Right.
We know everything.
Right.
So when a vendor's coming to us on wedding day, we've already got the answer. I don't have to come bother you.
Oh my God.
Right?
This feels so good.
Because what? There's average of 13 vendors you hire for a wedding. I think that's the average, 10 vendors you hire for a wedding. So imagine on wedding day, those 10 vendors coming to the bride or the groom or the family with questions.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes.
We don't want that. We want to be able to take all of that. So even through the planning process, the timeline, a lot of those questions we know is inevitably going to come up. We've answered already.
Perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
Because on wedding day, it goes so fast.
It goes really fast.
Yes.
And, we try to build little moments for our couples as well. I want them to have moments. I want them to not feel rushed. It does. It will.
Yes.
And we try to avoid that. And we do that by building extra time into the timeline. So they don't feel like, oh my God, I've got to get somewhere right now.
Right.
No, you're good. You've got like 10 minutes. Take a minute.
Yes.
You're good. We want them to feel like they're not rushed, which is why we build in that time, even on the front end, but also giving those couples moments. One of my favorite parts of wedding day is the very end of the evening. We're about to do the final exit. We've invited all the guests outside to line them up, to give them instructions of how to be safe with sparklers, or whatever it is that we're doing. And the bride and groom are in the ballroom all by themselves.
Right.
It's just the two of them. It's quiet. It's empty. It's probably the first moment of the entire day they've been alone.
Yes.
And I'm getting chills just describing it. And we're having the DJ play their favorite song just for them. I always say the first dance is for the family.
Mm-hmm.
The last dance is for the bride and groom.
Yes.
It's just that moment. And we want to create that. So when they stop and they reflect on their day, they're going to have that memory of that moment of just the two of them together. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters, is creating those moments for them. So that's my favorite. It's the end of the night. It's one of my favorite moments on wedding day.
Yes. I remember the first time we saw that, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, I literally got chills.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the whole day is like you and everybody else. And it's almost like you said, like everything's going so fast to the point like you can't even sit down and have anything to eat. And so you really can't even talk to your new spouse because everything is going. So it's really nice, to hear that, you've built in those areas so you can eat, you can go to the restroom, you can.
Yes. And it's funny that you mentioned the dinner, because we are really like sticklers on our couples eating. We want them to eat. Like, we'll bodyguard their table if we have to. We'll pretend to have a conversation. And we've done that. We've walked up to couples like, we're just going to pretend to talk to you. A lot of people are coming up. You said that you want to eat. We're just going to pretend this is important. So no one will bother you. You get to eat. And they're like, thank you. And then they'll go back to eating. We do that for them, right? We want to make sure, because that's their first meal together. They should enjoy it and look at each other big bright-eyed and go, oh my gosh, can you believe we just got married? Just enjoy that fun moment of realization of what just happened. We want to build that time. We had a bride look at our timeline and she was like, am I gonna be able to go to the bathroom? I'm like, oh honey, it doesn't take 10 minutes to do this. We just put 15 minutes. It takes 5 to do a thing. We put 15 on the timeline. So if you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. So it's even those things. Like they're like, can I go to the, yes, we'll make sure, I promise. Any potty breaks you need, we got you. You're okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love it, because just like you said too, like the days going by and the last thing you want to worry about is like, what's next? And it's really nice to say, I have this amazing team. I don't have to worry about it.
Nope.
I've seen the timeline. Everything is on there that I want to experience. And I know that they're experts. So I know that they've built in all the components. But then to have that one-on-one at the end of the night, like you said, it's super quiet.
So great.
No one is there. You get to hear, your favorite song, or, the song that you all love together. And to be able to just have that one moment, just that one moment, literally. No one's asking you to do anything, go anywhere. It's just literally that one moment where you all can dance and just like, I don't know. It's just something special about that moment. And like I said, the first time we saw it, I was like, oh my God, like this is such a great idea. And I literally had chills and a couple of tears came to my eyes. It's just like,
I always cry. I mean, we've done about 120 weddings, 115 weddings. And I still get emotional, when the mother and son dance and the dad toasts the bride and they have, I still get emotional at those moments because we feel so honored and so blessed that we get to be a part of that. Like, vendors should really like recognize, I mean, obviously this is a job and we do it because we love it, but we get to be a part of that moment. That's really special. It's so special.
Yes. It's really nice. One thing that I truly enjoy is that component. It's like, you can book anybody, and the fact that you chose to work with us, it's really like our goal and our mission to like really make sure that we give everything. It's not just for us like, oh, just bringing chairs. No, we want you to rent the chair that you want. We're going to give you all the details about the chair. We're going to ask you how you want them set up, the best time to break down. And I love too, like, who's your wedding planner? Because after I send you the quote, like at that point, I don't want you worrying about anything anymore. Like, I'll work directly with your wedding planner. Give me their information and just don't worry about it. And even, I was talking to someone else today and I said, if this is what you want, just connect me and I'll work with them. Don't worry about it. Because like you said, it's just I know for us, it's way bigger than just renting chairs or renting.
It really is.
Yes.
It really is. And I love the passion that you have, because anytime you and I talk about just industry stories, you
Right.
always approach it with such passion. You
Right.
always approach it with this like just heart of, sometimes I don't even get to meet the couple, but I
Right.
know that couple and
Mm-hmm.
they know me because we have communicated, we have, you know,
Right.
we've had dialogue, and I know that their day is going to be that much better because we were able to be a part of it. And you
Yes.
have such drive and passion for what you do. I
Yes.
admire it. I want to be like you.
Thank you.
I mean, I love what you do, and I love
Thank
that
you.
you're like, this is what we're good at. This is the thing
Mm-hmm.
that we're staying in, and we want to give our
Mm-hmm.
clients the best possible service, and this
Yes.
is how we achieve that. It's
Yes.
kind of going back to, you learn throughout the beginning stages of business what's going to make sense for you and what's not, and
Yes.
how do I give the level of service that
Mm-hmm.
makes me optimizing what I can do for my couple, but not offering too much that now I can't
Yes.
deliver that level of expectation.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
you kind of figure that out through the, and you've got it, and you've got it.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
thank you. Thank you. And I think too, what else makes it so much easier for us is that we work with pros like yourself that
Mm-hmm.
they know what they're doing. So, like you said, like we do rentals, that's it. We don't have any
Mm-hmm.
decor, we don't have anything, but
Mm-hmm.
we are really connected with pros like yourself that do that. And so for
Mm-hmm.
us to like refer vendors who we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we rent the chairs and all those things, but still be that resource for the
Mm-hmm.
couples.
Yep.
So we know that who we're connecting you with, they're definitely going to take care of you. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the biggest component of hiring, like you said, hiring planners, because they know who's
We've
going to
got that
show up.
network.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they know who's
Yeah.
going to show up, do it right, not worry you to death. And they
Mm-hmm.
just know how to execute every single time.
Yep. And that's what we try to do, even with in the initial
Mm-hmm.
consultation that we do with our couples, we want to know who you've hired. I want to
Yes.
make sure that you're working
Mm-hmm.
with the best,
Yes.
and not being afraid to make other
Mm-hmm.
recommendations. Sometimes
Yes.
that's just a part of it.
Yeah.
I always want my couples to have the best. So
Yes.
if I may, and I
Yes.
tell them, if I'm recommending someone to you, I have
Mm-hmm.
vetted them.
Yes.
I have worked with them,
Yes.
or if there's a vendor you bring to me, and we've had this happen. I had a couple bring me a photographer, and they're like, we have met them, we would really love to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to vet them just
Oh,
as
yeah.
if we were going through that process.
Yes.
Are they licensed and insured? What are their reviews? Let's vet them. Let's make sure that they're the best for you. And our couples love that level of service because they know at the end of the day they're getting the best possible. And being a certified wedding planner gives me a whole network. So if it's someone I've not worked with personally,
Right.
I can go to my network in Central Florida and say, has anyone worked with this vendor? And oh my God, they're amazing. They're the best.
Right.
And if I have a certified wedding planner telling me they're
Mm-hmm.
amazing,
Mm-hmm.
that's that level of detail and checking off that box that makes me feel good about that vendor. So even through the vetting process, we want to make sure that they're getting the right vendors. And we really do try to build relationships and have a strong network
Yes.
to be able to offer those to our couples.
Yes. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one last question.
Okay.
So before we end this beautiful Wedding Pros chat,
Mm-hmm.
would you please give couples just a little piece of advice, just something that they can just, when they end this live, they're like, yeah, like A,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I want to book with them. Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
even B, like, that's very important and that's something I really need to remember
Mm-hmm.
during that wedding, process as I'm thinking about what I want, even if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
engaged. Yeah. So what would that one thing be that you just say, just remember this?
Okay. So obviously hiring a wedding planner, that's
Right.
a given. We won't even say that. But honestly, I would just pause for a moment and
Mm-hmm.
recognize that it is about the two of them coming together in that moment.
Yes.
That there's going to be a lot of opinions and a lot of ideas and a lot of suggestions thrown their way. And if they can just pause and make the best decisions for them as a couple,
Mm-hmm.
that way during the day and even at the end when they're reflecting, it was what they wanted.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest advice is just enjoy being engaged. There's a lot of details that go into wedding day. Don't stress about them. As long as at the end of the day, you guys are married and you're happy. I guess that's what I want for my couples is to really just just be elated about their day and not stress so much about some of those details.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
it.
Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
don't know if that was
Yeah.
clunky. I feel like that made sense. I
Yes.
just make it be about them. Let it be
Yes.
about them.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because once this day is over, um, that's the person you're
It's
gonna
just
be
them.
with. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just them when it's all said and done. Yep.
Yes.
And I see
Yes.
some of my brides coming in. I literally just saw a couple of my brides pop in. So that's so exciting. Hi,
Nice.
Maggie. Hi, Adriana. Love you, girls.
Yes. 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 All right. Well, I think we covered so much, look, in this last 50 minutes.
I know. It was a lot. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I love it. I love
Yes,
it.
definitely. So thank you everyone for joining us. As Laura said, she's with Perfect Day Production, and they literally, no matter how, how big your wedding is, as in a number of attendees to whatever stage you are in your wedding planning process, they're literally the perfect team for your perfect day. So what we'll do, we'll be sure to tag your information once the live is over. And like I say, you guys, we love interviewing vendors that we work with. And she's one of our favorite vendors, of course. So you're getting our stamp of approval for sure. But yes, like she said, the process is really easy if you want to reach out to them.
It's very easy.
Just jump on the
Very easy.
website, send in your information, and don't take for granted the fact that she does provide that complimentary consultation. Because that's when you're going to really be able to let her know who you are and the vision that you have for your big day. So thank you, Laura, so much. We truly appreciate
for
it.
inviting me. You asked amazing questions. I hope it was helpful to your audience and that they got to learn a little bit more about us and Perfect Day, and hopefully we can, just be a part of their days too.
Yes, and look, you have one of your clients. She said, "I love you."
I love her too. She's amazing. She just messaged me earlier today. Adriana, I think I owe you a text. No, I have the best couples. Like we get those questions a lot. And I honestly say that we have been so blessed to have some of the most amazing couples.
Yes.
And families. Like I cannot tell you how incredibly blessed we are at the couples and the families that we've had the honor of working with these past 4 years. It's been incredible.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks again for joining us, and have a wonderful week. And like we said, we'll be sure to drop in Laura's contact information following this live. But thanks again so much, and have a wonderful week.
Yes, ma'am. You too. I'll see you guys later.
You guys.
Thanks, Charlena.
No problem. Bye.